I've literally just finished reading this book. It's called We Are Satellites, and it's by a guy called Martin Saunders. And it talks about how do we put God in the centre of our lives. I've really enjoyed this book. It's been aimed, it says it's aimed towards young person. I'm just clinging on there as a young person, maybe. But it uses really modern, everyday examples of things that are really current, and I found that really good because it made it much easier to understand some of the things he was talking about, and it made it quite enjoyable to read. So the first sort of few chapters talk about things like worship and prayer, if you like, our inner life as a Christian and how we orbit around God. In the centre, it has about power of the Holy Spirit. And it ends with how do we outwork our faith? And it has 3 chapters: justice, evangelism, and creativity. And I love what it says about just even those 3 titles: justice, evangelism, and creativity. How do we outwork our faith today? It's great, recommend it.
Hi, I just wanted to tell you a little bit about the film I Can Only Imagine. Just recently watched it actually. It's all about the lead singer of Mercy Me. If you know the song I Can Only Imagine, self-explanatory there. But it actually tells you about the true story behind why that song came about. I had no idea. I've known the song for years, but actually it was just really inspiring to hear the story of huge forgiveness for Bart, the lead singer. I would definitely recommend going to watch it, get it on your playlist, and enjoy hearing a little bit more about how God just transforms lives. And if you're anything like me, it's quicker than a book.
I recently read this book called The Salt Path by Raynor, Winn. It's not a Christian book, but it really made me think about my faith. This couple were basically, they had everything in life. They lived a normal life, they had a big house, things were going well, but then suddenly everything fell apart. They lost their house, they'd got a really bad diagnosis, and everything fell apart for them. And so what they decided to do as a sort of a last-ditch attempt of doing something is to walk a really long coastal path around Cornwall and around that area of the coast. And they explore, in the book, it explores sort of homelessness and our perceptions of homeless people. It talks about a lot of their faith, but also it explores, it describes their experiences of walking, if you like, a lonely path. And so, yeah, there's lots of things that you can draw out about faith. So I'd say give it a go.
So my favourite Christian film is a film called Fireproof. It's about a couple who aren't Christians, I think, and they're on the brink of breakup, and progressively both of them come to faith and they start to realign their priorities in their marriage, and they start to sort of forgive each other and bring reconciliation to their marriage. And it's a really beautiful film. I really recommend you check it out.
I was given this book for Christmas. It's called The Boy, the Mole, The Fox and the Horse by Charlie Mackesy. And Charlie Mackesy is an artist. He's done quite a few good works of art, particularly around the prodigal son. And this book here is like full of lovely sort of illustrations and thoughts or quotes, if you like, about these 4 characters: the boy, the mole, the fox and the horse. And I think the idea is that maybe we can see a bit of ourselves in all 4 of the characters. And so I thought I'd just read one of them to you. I've learned how to be in the present. How? Asked the boy. I find a quiet spot and shut my eyes and breathe. That's good. And then? Then I focus. What do you focus on? Cake, said the mole.
Hi everyone, I'm Angela, and I'd like to recommend this book to you here. It's by Pope Francis, and it was written in 2020 in response to the COVID crisis. I just love the title. It's called Dare to Dream. And it's very uplifting, but also very, very challenging. There are 3 parts. part 1 is a time to see, then a time to choose, and a time to act. And I just want to read you one short bit at the back, which kind of sums the book up. It says, to come out of this crisis better, we have to see clearly, choose well, and act right. Let's talk about how. Let us dare to dream. I hope you enjoy it. God bless. Bye.
I was recommended this book after the death of George Floyd and the rise of Black Lives Matter. It's called We Need to Talk About Race by Lindsay. This book in many ways is easy to read in terms of how it's written, but in most ways it's actually a real challenge, as it really grapples with prejudice and racism in the church and in society as a whole. It talks about understanding the Black experience in white majority churches. And what I've liked about this book is at the end of each chapter it gives some questions for everyone to consider. And so for example, this one is called Is It Because I'm Black? This chapter, being Black in the UK, and it talks about some experiences. And the questions for consideration are, he gives some questions for a person of colour, a white church leader, a white church member, and then looking in. So if you fancy a challenge, in a good way, pick up this book, because it has really helped me think about this issue.
So my favorite Christian movie is called Facing Giants. It's about a football coach, and he's a very faithful man, and through his life the guys from his team meet Jesus, and that's an amazing story for me. And my favorite book, not my favorite book, but one of the really good ones that I'm reading right now, is called Anxious for Nothing, and it's written by Lucado. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right, but yeah, that's this one. Go and check it out. I think God will speak to you.